Sorry, guys, had to deal with the grandkids there real quick. Got two of them over. One's sick. One doesn't go to school till noon because he's in kindergarten. But hey, how's everybody doing here? All righty, let's get over here and see who all's here now. First one in was Phelan Clan Wolf, then Crew 1351, then Aiden Air, and those are the only ones commenting so far. All right, and let's see here. So, quick catch up of what's happened. Uh-oh, forgot to fill my water up. All right, so so we're in A Scout is Trustworthy, and this is now we're actually going to finish off the last couple pages here of chapter 9, and then get into chapter 10 here. Oh, big little fly there. Got it. Got the fly. Where he landed, I don't know, but I hit him and he went thunk against the screen. And anyways, I don't know. It's middle of winter. How did a big old horsefly grow up enough and then be able to get into the house? I don't know. Anyways. All right, so what we so the two main characters, Michael Moore, who is the scout, and Kimberly Jackson, who's the ninja, we're in archery competitions from different high schools, different teams, and anyways, for the last 4.5 years or so, they've been oogling each other, but they've been told lies about each other. He was told that she had a boyfriend. She was told that he did not like girls that were too forward and would try to ask a boy out. And so, but they went after the asteroid was announced or the news leaked on it. The next day, they ran into each other accidentally at Harbor Freight getting supplies, and things have gone on. Kimberly's mother, Monica, has made arrangements for the two of them to stay at her cousin Jake's place. Michael and his foster parents, well, quote, now adopted parents, the Clarks, are getting supplies up to their cabin up by Jacob Lake at the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And Kimberly and Michael have had a very high-speed developing relationship. She proposed to him. Yeah, and they set the date at 22 months out just to spite their mothers. And yeah. So, anyways, today, what we're picking up is Monica and Kimberly were taking supplies up to. Oh, back up a little. Michael's adopted mom, Janet, was up working up at the cabin, getting stuff ready, and realized that they really weren't doing things right. And they knew that it was going to be really bad, and most likely their house in Tempe, Arizona was going to be gone after, one way or another after the event. So they decided to sell it now, get the money, and get more supplies and stuff. And they've been helping each family's been helping each other out a little bit. So Michael went with Monica and Kimberly with the next big load of stuff up to her cousin Jake's, and that's where we're going to pick up at. So let me bring it to there. I'm up in the corner, and here we go. All righty, so I'm going to repeat a couple pages because this picks up on a change up here. All right. Monica, Kimberly, and Michael arrived at the Jacksons' home in Tempe about 9 o'clock hang on. Let me put something on here. That night. Michael's inspection of the property had taken longer than planned because it had not gone unnoticed by Jake, who had joined him halfway through. Jake had answered all of Michael's concerns until Michael asked him what he planned to do when the people trying to get their food were starving and had desperate women and children. Then he followed up with, what about the gangs of brigands and with some ex-military members that are dedicated to infiltrating their lines, raping, killing, and taking whatever they want? There's no way anyone can get past our guards, Jake said boastfully. I can, Michael said dryly. So can I, Kimberly interjected. Easily. Jake looked at her and chuckled. Kimberly, you'd be spotted before you entered our outer perimeter, let alone got to the house. Kimberly laughed loudly and shook her head. We'll go outside your perimeter and come in and ring your warning bell 6 times without you seeing us. And when we catch you, you'll apologize to everyone, Jake stated. Agreed. And when we ring the bell, you'll listen to what we have to say, Kimberly said. You're on. Mom, Kimberly called out, you need to take us outside their perimeter, and headed over to her F-150 pickup. 20 minutes later, Monica returned to Jake's house. You know, Jake, Kimberly's a 3rd level instructor in Jeet Kune Do. Hang on, I need to add stuff on there because I know there's stuff that's going to be added in later. It's going to affect this, as well as several other RTI. There we go. As well as several other martial arts, she said after parking her truck. What's that? Oh, the fighting style that Bruce Lee developed. Well, that may be, but it doesn't mean she can get inside our perimeter. Just then the bell rang out. What? Jake yelled. How'd they get on the property? They shouldn't have gotten inside the perimeter. One of the neighbors that was with Jake got on the radio and called for everybody to close in on Jake's house and look for Kimberly and her boyfriend. Hang on. And that they were already ready inside the perimeter. As the neighbors pulled back towards Jake's house, Michael slipped Kimberly's father's Colt car 15 back in its case. Well, that suppressor certainly works. Dad knew his stuff. Now let's get closer. Let's move in closer and ring it again. For the next 5 minutes, they worked their way through the brush and the ditches. Okay, what's going on here? Why does it say there's only 2 people here? Because I know two other one wouldn't come in here, and I got it up over here so I can make comments. Oh well, let's see. Where was I? The next 5 minutes, they worked their way through the brush and irrigation ditches. Sorry, let me put that in there. Irrigation ditches to another spot where they get another shot off and ring the bell without being seen. When the bell rang a second time, panic began to work its way into everybody's mind. Then Michael noticed the rooster weather vane on top of the house. Drawing a bead on it, he squeezed off another shot and spent the rooster spinning. Kimberly smiled broadly at the reaction that got. Jake threw his hat on the ground and yelled, "That doesn't count." Let's move closer, Michael said. They skirted around the house, maintaining their distance from it. When they got to the back side of the property, they started working their way closer again. When they were about 70 yards from the bell, Kimberly rolled over on her back and clamped her hand over her mouth, trying to stifle the laughter that was trying to escape, trying to erupt because of the idea she just got. When she had control of herself again, she whispered to Michael, "I'm going to work my way up the irrigation ditch that leads to the wooden fence line that lines up with the bell. When I get to the ditch, put one more shot into the bell and then leave put one more shot into the bell with the rifle, then leave it here and move to the brush near our trailer. When you get into position, ring the bell with an arrow, then move it into the barn and get to the loft for another shot. With that, that will draw them towards the barn, and I'll get to the bell for the final ring. Michael started chuckling at the thought of their reaction, seeing Kimberly standing there in their midst ringing the bell. He looked at her and said, "Go." Their plan was going as laid out until Michael entered the back door of the barn, and two of the neighbors were inside the front door watching the bell. They would surely see Kimberly during the last 20 feet or so for a path to the bell. There was only one thing Michael could think of. He pulled out 2 arrows from his quiver, turning the bow on its side, knocked both of them, and shot just above the neighbor's head. "Quiet, you're dead," he said in his best Green Arrow raspy voice. "Now sit." The 2 men looked at him in shock and slowly slid to the floor in silence. Michael quickly climbed the steep stairs to the loft and made his way to the hay doors at the front of the barn. Looking through the crack between the doors, he searched for any sign of Kimberly, and finally saw that she was in the high weeds about 10 feet from the bell. Jake was standing about 15 feet on the other side of the bell with several of his relatives. Michael slowly opened the hay door several inches so he could get a shot at the bell. He knocked another blunt tip arrow. Knocking another blunt tip arrow, Michael drew the bowstring back and sighted on the bell. He knew he had to draw everyone's attention, so he let out a high-pitched whistle. When Jake turned to the sound, he fired. The bell rang out as Jake yelled, "They're in the barn!" He started running started running towards it. "That's only 5. The bell rang again. "Wrong, that's 6. Everyone turned to see a ninja dressed all in black perched in a squat on top of the 6x6 beam that hung the bell. Suddenly another arrow struck the bell. "And that's 7, Michael shouted in his raspy voice, now standing in the opening the fully open hay doors wearing his Green Arrow costume. "What the fudge?" Jake said in disbelief. Michael grabbed the rope that was hanging from the pulley used to lift bales up to the loft and slid down it to the ground and walked past everybody to the bell. When he got close, Kimberly launched herself into the air, performing a triple somersault and landing next to Michael. "Like we said, you have a great vulnerability in your location. With 2 highways meeting in town, you need to get everybody on board." Everyone, hang on, let me emphasize that. You need to get everyone on board with putting up roadblocks and bunkers a good half mile from town, Michael said. And when trouble comes, it will be mean and desperate. They won't just go away with a warning. You will need to kill, possibly a lot of them, to get them to leave you alone and not come back, Kimberly interjected. "Just 2 of us were able to get inside your perimeter easily," Michael stated. "And then we toyed with you," Kimberly said. "We could have killed most, if not all of you from cover, and you would never known we were attacking until at least half of you were dead. You never knew we were inside the perimeter until we rang the bell, and even then you had no idea where we were. At first, the first any of you had any idea where we were was when I killed," he did quotation marks in the air for the word kill, "the 2 in the barn. The rest of you only knew I was in the barn because I whistled to get your attention, draw you away from the bell so Kimberly could get to it." "But what's with the costume?" "Shock effect," Michael smiled, "to throw you off your game and give us still another advantage." "I'll say," came a voice from the barn doors. "When he snuck up on us and killed us, I about peed my pants when I saw him in the get-up." "Heck, I did pee my pants. He scared me so bad," the other neighbor said. "And there were just 2 of us. Imagine there were 10 of us attacking you." "Yes, we had 1 rifle, but the rest of our weapons are bows and blades, silent and deadly." If we attacked at night and were of a mind, we could kill everyone in their sleep and no one would ever know what happened. That is the threat you're facing if things go the way we believe they will. You seem to think that things will get bad. You seem to think that things will get bad just in the cities. Well, when things get bad in the cities, many people will evacuate to the countryside and will make their way here, Michael added. Just how did you two get experts on this? Jake wondered, and since Jake said in sincere wonder, blah. Kimberly answered first. My dad was teaching me a lot before he died. After that, I took to studying his manuals. Because of it, it helped me feel close. It helped me feel that he was still watching over me. I studied emergency preparedness and survival tactics when I took the emergency preparedness merit badge as an 11-year-old scout. Since then, my family has been preparing and training. My parents weren't allowed to have firearms as foster parents, so we trained with archery and studied self-defense tactics and other strategies that we use to protect ourselves. Jake and several others began to nod in understanding as Michael and Kimberly spoke. You have a lot of work to do to secure your town, and time is running out. You need to get busy, and we need to get back to Tempe tonight, Kimberly finished. Jake held up his hand and shouted, everyone get the word out. We need everyone to meet at the community center in an hour. Michael started picking up his arrows, and Kimberly took off to retrieve her father's rifle. You've given us a bit to think about, Jake said, a bit more humbly than he was an hour earlier. What I didn't tell you is that you may well have those within the town who will turn against you and others when the going gets tough. Michael whispered to Jake so no one could hear. The bleeding hearts and others too. You need your core group to stay strong. You can't count on me for help. Jake. Monica, Kimberly, and Michael finished unpacking to head back to the city as quickly as they could. But they were still over an hour later and leaving than they had planned. Now they were back in Tempe and they continued their conversations. Hang on, the grandsons are making noise in there. I'll be back in a second. Okay, yeah, they were excited with the game they were playing in there. All right, all right. So now they were back in Tempe. They continued their conversation with Benjamin on how well prepared the people of Alpine were and what they needed for Monica and Kimberly there, and what was needed at the cabin. They stayed up for another hour discussing their options, wants, and needs. Their list of needs were modified and that priorities were realigned. When they had a new game plan for the next day, they called it a night. They called it a day and retired for the night. Yeah, I'll keep it that way. Before going to bed, Michael and Kimberly hugged for a brief moment, then parted. That was short, Benjamin commented. We had a lot of time together to bond and strengthen ourselves, Michael replied. Now that's a man's answer. I'm even more proud of you. He gave Michael a shoulder hug. Okay, so that wrapped up number 9 from yesterday. And now let's get on to 10. All right. 20, got to put the date. I didn't put the dates on all of these, so I'll put the final date on it. Chapter 10, Sunday. Upgrades, September 27th, 2037. And hang on a second. I want to double check something here. I did make a boo-boo here. I forgot to take out the, there we go. There we go. Back out there to here. Take that one out. Take that one out. Alrighty. It was early Sunday morning when Michael got up. His adopted father was still asleep, so he dressed quickly and went out for a morning run. He'd gone about a mile when he saw Kimberly coming in the opposite direction. He slowed and turned as she passed. You know, if I wanted you to join me for my run, I would have texted you, she said. Michael felt a little crushed that he had intruded on her private time by turning around. Sorry, he turned around and he headed off and got about 10 strides when a hand slapped him in the back of the head. Oh, what was that for? He said as he staggered several more steps. I didn't say to leave. I didn't say to leave. Michael stopped running. Now I'm confused. Good. She smiled at him. What do you want? Okay, let me hang on. I got to capitalize that. What do you want? He asked, slightly frustrated. She sauntered up to him. Good in sweatpants and a soaked t-shirt. And reached up and clasped her hands behind his neck, gently pulled his head down to hers. When their lips touched, she opened her mouth and thrust her tongue deep into his mouth as she could. She lifted her right leg up and hooked it on his hip, then slowly lifted the other leg up, giving him time to adjust his balance to handle her weight, and wrapped her legs around him wrapped the leg around him to lock it with the first. She swirled her tongue in its mouth and began to slowly rock up and down on his hips. After a minute, she broke the kiss. This is what I want, but I want us to be doing it naked. But, hang on, I got to fix this. But we're not married yet, Michael stammered with a groan. I know, she sighed and unlocked her legs and climbed down off of him. That's why I'm not going to ask you to join me for a shower when we get home. But I am going to ask that you consider changing the 22-month time frame. It's bothering you that much? It hurts down to my toenails sometimes, she said. No, she lowered her head. No, I want to change that. She said as she lowered her head and turned away from him. I can't believe I just did that either. It's like I'm losing my self-control. All of my martial arts training is evaporating like smoke on a windy day. I have no focus, no clarity of thought like before, no balance. I feel lost, like when my dad died. She spun around to bury her head into Michael's chest, but stopped short when she saw that he had tears running down his cheeks. I'm bad, aren't I? She looked down at the sidewalk. No, you're just in love and under a lot of stress with the asteroid turning the world into the twilight zone and your mom wanting to go someplace you believe will be unsafe. You're hurting because you don't have any way of relieving the pressure you're under. He heaved a breath and added, and I'm part of the pressure. I'll talk to our parents. Kimberly buried her head into Michael's chest, wrapping her arms around him tightly. Thank you. Michael and Kimberly came running up the driveway just as Benjamin came out of the trailer. They continued running till they reached him and doubled over and rested their hands on their knees. Long run, Benjamin asked, with a smile, seeing Michael more exhausted than he had been in quite a while. About 5 miles, Michael gasped out. Closer to 7, Kimberly wheezed. No wonder I ache, Michael groaned. We got to get back in shape, Kimberly continued to wheeze. Loading and unloading trailers may work out the arms, but sitting back in the sitting for long rides in the truck kills the endurance. Agreed, Michael coughed out and staggered towards the hose bib with a garden hose attached. There's filtered water in the house, Kimberly said. Is your mom up? I don't want to wake her prematurely. Don't care. The hose water tastes nasty. Kimberly made a scrunched up face. She should be up anyways. She staggered towards the front door. Benjamin muttered something a little louder. Another misspelling there. Louder than he intended to. At least it won't be up to having sex. Great idea, Michael said, and looked at Kimberly. Let's go running every time we're tempted. Crud, we'll be doing a lot of running. At least you'll be in shape for your honeymoon, Benjamin snickered. Dad, Michael exclaimed. Really? Benjamin laughed as they went in the house. Janet got up earlier than normal, partly because she was alone in the cabin and was finding it hard to sleep, and partly because the urgency of the need to get ready for the asteroid. She fixed herself a small breakfast and was now staring at the pile of materials for the animal pens and corrals. All right. So someone else just came in. I can see it on the counter. Then she picked up a tape measure and a can of marking paint and walked over to where she was thinking the chicken hutch and run should go. Sprayed a bright orange dot on the ground and measured out 24 feet. Sprayed another dot. Then she headed off at a right angle and measured out 40 feet and sprayed another dot. For the next 90 minutes, she laid out the chicken run, rabbit pen, milking shed, and the pole barn for the hay, and the pole barn for the cows and goats shelters. She had to make a few adjustments when she saw how it was looking as she laid it out, but thought she'd done a fairly good job of it. Then Janet picked up a 4-pound sledgehammer and several 3-foot long grade stakes and started driving them on the orange dots. Then she would run the bright pink twine between them and get a better picture of what the layout looked like, and if she needed to make any more changes before she started driving the ground spikes in for the 4x4 posts. The ground spikes were 4-inch square steel tube about 6 inches high with a solid plate on the bottom. Welded to the plate was a 3-foot long tapered steel X, similar to a tent stake. Once the ground spike was driven into the ground, a 4x4 post would be placed in it, and the steel placed in it. The steel tube was split on one corner with flanges and two bolts in it to tighten the tube on the post and hold it in place. After driving a dozen ground spikes, Janet sighed, "I'm going to be sore tonight." She groaned as she picked up several more ground spikes and carried them to where she had to drive them in. Michael stepped out of the shower and dried off quickly. Earlier that morning, they had loaded the Jackson's trailer with items Monica wanted to go to the Clark's cabin. After yesterday's smelly ride, they all decided it was best for everyone to take a quick shower before they hit the road. Michael was going to ride with Monica in the F-150 pulling the Jackson's trailer, and Kimberly was going to ride with Benjamin in the F-450 pulling the dump trailer. While Michael, Kimberly, and Monica were loading up the Jackson's trailer, Benjamin went to Lowe's and loaded the dump trailer with 2 pallets of 60-pound bags of concrete, 2 bundles of 1 1/8 subfloor and subfloor plywood. With the van and Jeep at the cabin, they didn't have a vehicle to park in front of the trailer, so Michael and Benjamin put a hitch lock on it and piled some old telephone pole pieces in front of it to make it harder for anyone to steal. Once that was done, they checked Craigslist for livestock while they waited for Monica and Kimberly to finish their showers before heading out. While they were doing that, Benjamin spotted some cargo shipping containers for sale in Flagstaff. They had 40-foot containers for $3,800 delivered. He called the number and was able to get 2 delivered that evening about 6 o'clock. Then he called Janet and told her about the containers. She said to get 3 more delivered tomorrow for livestock, food storage, and shelter. He asked why, and she simply, "Do you love me?" He replied, "Is 3 more going to be enough?" And she answered they would discuss it once they got here. He called back the container company and added 3 for the next day. The salesman said that if Benjamin upped the order to 8 containers, he would give him a 10% discount, bulk purchase discount. Benjamin ordered 8 and called Janet back and told her. She agreed with his decision. When Monica came out of her room, Benjamin told her that what he had ordered and that she could use 2 of them for her belongings. Monica was all choked up and started. Kimberly asked as she entered the living room. Nothing's wrong. The Clarks just bought 2 cargo containers for us to store our stuff in." Kimberly's mouth dropped open for a couple seconds. Then she launched herself at Benjamin and wrapped her arms around him. Thank you. She squeezed him tightly. "Not a problem. Just don't break a rib thanking me," Benjamin grunted out. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just so excited," she said as she quickly stepped back from him. "That's okay. Just save those super hugs for someone who can handle them. I'll just take the old grandpa hugs. Those I can handle." "Well," Michael said quickly to get the topic off of grandpas, "we should get going so we can be there when the containers are delivered." "Right," Benjamin agreed. Hang on. I think I just screwed something up here. Let's roll back up here. Here's where I got to fix it. It almost sounded like they were on the road when he spotted the containers for sale. So Craigslist. There we go. Yeah. Now I added that he was looking at Craigslist and spotted shipping containers for sale near. Okay, so that's good. But if it's that early in the morning, hang on, let me see. Trying to remember the right staff to. Oh, this. Ah, I gotta look something up here real quick. So bear with me while I look something up. All right, Flagstaff, Arizona, FLA, Flagstaff. Boom. Go to map. And as the computer slowly opens the map, because Microsoft is trying to get everyone off of Windows 10 into Windows 11, and they keep loading crap to slow it down. Directions. Jacob Lake, Arizona. Boom, boom. Time, distance traveled, 2 hours and 50 minutes. Okay, destination here. TEM. Not Tempe. Tempe, Arizona. There we go. Boom. That's 5 hours, so about 6 hours when they get from that. Yeah. So, okay, I gotta change some information here real quick. So let's go back up here. And about 1 o'clock. Gotta get the timeline right on it, guys. That afternoon, AFT after noon, about 1 o'clock. And I'll make it 2 o'clock because that makes time for them to get up. Yeah, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock sounds better. That puts them just about all the stuff they've been doing in the morning, and 5.5 hours travel time puts that about right. All right. Okay, hit save. Bingo. All right, and we're back down to 3. All righty. So you're going to be enough? Yeah. Okay. We should get right, Benjamin Green. I was surprised they could deliver on Sunday. And they must have ordered a bunch of containers and are trying to sell them while things are still calm. Michael mused as he headed towards the door. I hope you're right. Hang on. This is Sunday. Yeah. Janet was having a glass of lemonade as she stood on the back porch of the cabin, looking out to where she laid out the materials for the chicken run and rabbit pen. She had the corner post for them set, as well as the two pole barns. She had a small corral for the milk cow assembled next to one of the pole barns. Then she saw a deer step from the woods at the edge of the meadow. It paused and looked around for anything that would be a threat. It took a couple more steps and looked around again. It repeated it several more times when a second deer appeared and did the same thing. Soon there were 8 more deer in the meadow. She watched them for about 20 minutes and thought, deer cameras. They need to get some trail cams to monitor the perimeter of the tree line for intruders. She turned to take the glass back inside it, and at her movement, all the deer spooked and scattered into the woods. Nature's alarm system, she said to herself. That's when she heard the sounds of trucks coming up the driveway. I may need to do some adjustments here as I get going here to make things flow properly the way they should be flowing here. So bear with me as we go through, rework the sentences here. I mean, the paragraphs. Monica followed Benjamin as he drove to the cabin. Her trailer felt a little top heavy and swayed more than she liked, so she slowed down way below the posted speed limit several times on the slight curves and a bunch of times on the tighter curves. Finally, they made it to the cabin just as Janet was directing the trucks. Okay, it's going to work out. Directing the trucks, delivering the cargo containers where to drop them. She had one dropped alongside the garage and the other where she had started the chicken run and rabbit pen on the other side of the cabin. Michael had Monica pull into the grass and wait until the delivery guys left. Benjamin pulled around behind the garage and parked his truck and dump trailer there, and quickly walked back around front and talked to the delivery drivers. He verified that they're going to be the ones delivering the rest of the containers. When they said they would be making, when they said that they would, when they confirmed, I'm going to change this up a little bit. There we go. Bump, 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 comma. He verified that they were going to be the ones making delivering the rest of the containers. He and Janet showed him where to drop them and said they'd mark the locations the locations exactly where they would go in case Benjamin and Janet were in town or in town at the same time they showed up. As soon as the delivery guys left, Monica backed her trailer up to the container next to the garage. Michael stopped her when the trailer was about 10 feet away from the container. He and Kimberly lowered the trailer ramp and began unloading the Jacksons' belongings into that container. They finished up in about an hour and closed the containers. Excuse me, there's the grandsons are in there fighting, so I'll be right back. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. They were excitedly playing with Duplos. They wanted me a Sonic the Hedgehog and wanted me to Knuckles, and they were having combat. All right. Okay. Close the container doors. We need to get some grease on these latch bars so they're easy enough for everyone to open by themselves, Michael said as he forced the locking bars in place. Are you insinuating I can't open it by myself? Kimberly growled at him. Not at all. I'm worried about Grandpa. Michael laughed as he took off running before Benjamin could swat him with his hat. The women were laughing at Michael dancing around the yard, acting silly and teasing Benjamin about not being able to catch him. I bet we all could catch you, Kimberly said. Then I could tickle you. Hey, there's no need to get mean, Michael said, suddenly in a somber mode or sober mode. Let's see, is that the word? Yeah, I'll make it somber mode. What we need is to get a couple 5-gallon buckets of brown and green paint to camouflage the containers, Janet said. The green container is okay, but that yellow one sure draws attention. And maybe some military camouflage netting to drape over the trailers too, Kimberly added. You can plant some trees near them too, Monica suggested. In fact, you could fence off an area around the containers and plant your fruit trees in it. The trees would help 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 hide the containers, and the fence would protect the fruit trees from the deer. Great idea, Benjamin said. Oh, we got someone else in here. All right. Well, let's get some lunch so you guys can head back, Janet said as she headed towards the cabin. 20 minutes later, they were finishing lunch when Monica's phone rang. She looked at caller ID and saw it was Susan. She stepped away from the group to take a call. Hello, Susan, what's up? Uh-huh. You're kidding. Well, let me talk to Kimberly and call you right back, okay? All right. Monica walked over to where Kimberly was sitting at the breakfast bar. That was Susan. She called with a $3 million cash offer for our place. Would you be mad if I took it? Mad? No, Mom. I know that it holds special meaning for you because it was supposed to be the house where Dad was going to retire. But hanging on to it is not going to do us any good, especially if it gets burnt to the ground or trashed by rioters or squatters. Call her back and take the deal. We need the money to get the things we really need. Besides, we can always buy something better suited for just the two of us if nothing happens. Monica looked tenderly at Kimberly and her eyes began to moisten. Oh, baby, you are growing up much too fast. I'm just being realistic, Mom. Well, you can be a little less realistic and a little more dreamy. And grammar. I want that to say, don't check for that issue. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the latest iteration of Microsoft Word for spell check grammar stuff likes to make everything really short and sterile. Yeah, so they don't like having extra descriptive words in there to get the point across. Okay, get something all right. Okay, get something suited for 3 of us plus grandkids with a swimming pool, a hot tub, a barn, horses and ponies for the little ones. Okay, enough. I'll call her, Monica said in exasperation. Really like getting tongue-tied there. Just make sure that some of it is in gold and silver coins and or bars or ingots. Bars or ingots, yeah. Smart idea, Benjamin noted. Got it, Monica says. She dialed Susan. Hey, Susan. Everyone except Janet headed back. Except for Janet headed back to Tempe. Kimberly and Monica in the F-150 with their trailer, and Michael and Benjamin in the F-450 with the dump trailer. They figured they could finish moving the Jacksons' belongings in 2 more trips, and the rest of the Clarks in 1. Kimberly was downloading more PDFs and chatting away with her mom when a light crosswind jolted the truck and trailer a little. We need to get a bigger truck, Mom. Kimberly squeaked out. SQUE squeaked out. Why? This one's doing just fine. Right. The Clarks were smart enough to get a bigger truck to pull their trailer, and their van was a 1-ton. This is a 1/2-ton, and they put it in there. Ignore. That's one reason. That's one reason. It's not strong enough or heavy duty enough for what we'll need to get supplies in the aftermath of the asteroid. Really, what type of truck would you suggest? Monica said with a hint of sarcasm. Well, at least a 1-ton with 4-wheel drive. A crew cab would be nice, but an extended cab would work. A winch on the front is a must too. I don't think crap, Monica exclaimed as a much stronger wind caused the trailer to fishtail badly. That's another reason. Winter storms are another. Kimberly squeaked out. Hang on, let me change that first squeaked out. I need a let me do this way here. Control F7. World, no. Now, none of those words look good. Let me think of the word. I'm trying to think of a good description. Says there we go. All right. Crap. Okay, we did that. Kimberly squeaked out as she held on to the door armrest. ARME. Armrest with a death grip. Oh, well, I dropped that armrest onto the door and There we go. The hand grip with the death. Yeah. Maybe you're right, Monica agreed. Maybe, Kimberly said, is even in an even higher pitched voice when the truck shook again. Okay, definitely in bigger and heavier truck would be better for hauling the trailer. And in any windy areas on the road. Agreed. Janet continued to drive ground spikes and set 4x4 posts for animals. She reshaped the chicken run and extended it to extend 10 feet to the side of the cargo container. This enlarged the run and saved on a bunch of chicken wire they would now use elsewhere. She moved the rabbit hutch and pen to the other side of the container. They would drop another container on the other side of the rabbit pen. This allowed them to triple the size of the pen and double the number of rabbits they could support. 2 hours later, she heard truck. Hang on. She heard the delivery trucks with the next 2 cargo containers. These containers were red and bright orange, so she had him drop them next to the one by the garage. It would take less paint to hide the bright colors. She asked them if they had any containers that were dark brown, green, or even blue that they could bring. They said they would check when they get back. When they got back to Tempe, it was about 11 o'clock in the evening, about 7 o'clock in the evening. Michael said they needed to go. No, it's later than 7 o'clock because that's 5 hours and time unloading. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. 8 o'clock, about 8. OCLOC. 8 o'clock in the evening. Michael said he needed to go for another run to build up his endurance. And Kimberly said she needed to practice her katas and do some stretches to keep herself limber. Monica offered to fix dinner when she remembered that most of the dishes were packed, so she took orders for Taco Bell and then went to get it while Benjamin started loading the trailer for the next day's trip. All right. Amazing. Take that down and that down. There we go. We're on chapter 11 now. All right. Just a quick check. Okay, 170. And we're on chapter 11. It's only 14 pages. Yeah. We may or may not go a little bit farther here. So we get done about noon here, my time. Or I may just may end early. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens here as we go along. All right. Chapter 11, Monday, selling. September 28th, 2037. Michael was up early. Michael was up early to go running. He put on a pair of sweatpants and a backpack with several weights in it. As he dressed, Benjamin grumbled from the front bedroom of the trailer, "Am I going to have to sleep in the house so I can get a full night's sleep? Or you could join me for my morning run." He grunted as he buried his head under the pillow. Michael chuckled softly as he stepped out of the trailer. He walked around to the side door of the garage and entered the code which opened the garage. He had a small flashlight with him this time and made his way to the light switch and flipped it on for the garage and went into the house. He planned to use the bathroom first before he went for his run and turned on the kitchen light and dropped his flashlight to sight before him in the living room. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you, Kimberly said as she held her stretching position with her legs about 3 feet apart, bent over so her head was between her calves and her jet black hair dragged on the floor. You didn't startle me. Stopped my heart, maybe. What are you talking about? Really? Yeah, really. Michael walked up to her from behind, put his hands on her hips, and started to pull her towards him. Kimberly suddenly realized what Michael was talking about. Talking about. Oh, crap, she yelped as she quickly straightened up and stepped away from him. I'm sorry I didn't realize the tempting sight I was giving you. Here I'm asking you to be strong. I'm practically saying, come take me by bending over in front of you. I'm so sorry. It could have been worse. How could it have been worse? He said as he went back and picked up his flashlight. How could I have done something worse than that? You could have been just in your boxer briefs and sports bra. Yeah, I bet that would have broken you. No bet, Michael sighed. We need to be mindful of what we do and how it will affect each other. You're right. I'm sorry, Kimberly said remorsefully. No, I'm sorry. I should have let you know last night I'd be coming in this morning. Well, let's get running, she said, obviously frustrated with something. Let me use the bathroom first. He started down the hallway. I'm going to go ahead and start. I need to think something through by myself. Do you want me to try to catch up? One. No, just go the way you did the last time and we'll meet halfway and come back together. All right, be safe. 20 minutes later, they met at the halfway point and joined up for the run home. Babe, are you okay? Michael asked. What do you mean? You're sweating more than usual. Babe, are you okay? Kimberly asked Michael. What do you mean? You're sweating more than usual. Oh, I have 20 pounds in the backpack. I'm trying to increase my endurance quicker. So you're getting really tired, huh? I wouldn't say tired, but I am working harder than normal. So if I tickle you and took off, you wouldn't be able to catch me? She asked with a sneaky smile. Oh, I would catch you. It might take an extra block or two, but I would catch you. Do 25 pounds tomorrow. I see. It's like that, huh? Sort of. I want you in your best shape when the asteroid comes. She sped up some, and I need to start wearing a weighted backpack too. In the meantime, I guess I'll have to tickle you to go faster. Don't you dare, she squealed and ran even faster to get away from him. When Michael and Kimberly got back from their run, they found Benjamin in the garage loading the Jacksons' trailer with more of their belongings. Michael breathed heavily as he slipped off the window. Hang on. I missed this whole sentence here. With more of their belongings. We'll be back out to help after we get some water in us, Michael said, breathing heavily as he slipped the weighted backpack off and dropped it by the door. Maybe 2 glasses, Kimberly gasped. Don't worry, we have time this morning, so don't rush it. Don't go rushing it yet, Benjamin replied. Thanks, Pops, Kimberly said with a snicker. Pops? Pops? Benjamin exclaimed, then with a smile. Well, I guess I can live with that. And he went back to moving tubs and boxes into the trailer. At 8 o'clock, Susan came over and met with Monica to go over the final details of selling her home. The new owner had already transferred $75,000 as part of the security deposit. The remaining funds would be transferred directly into Monica's account at 9:30 and be available immediately. He didn't have access to any gold or silver. The new owner will be arriving on Saturday, October 3rd, and wanted Monica to stay until they got there to protect the house. They'd pay an extra $20,000 for the service. After they finished loading the Jackson's trailer with the items that Monica said could go to the Clark's cabin, Kimberly announced that she needed to take Michael to get his own guns. She said that he was good with bows, but for long range, he needed a rifle and a pistol for close up. So but for long range, he needs a rifle and a pistol for close up, just in case. Benjamin agreed, and they all loaded up in the F-450 and headed over to the gun shop that Monica and Kimberly had been to before. On the way, Monica had them stop at a precious metal store, and she bought $100,000 worth of gold and silver coins and ingots. Monica said she didn't trust the banks or the government not to seize assets as some sort of stabilization effort once things went crazy. Following her lead, Benjamin did likewise. When they got to the gun shop, the gun owner was surprised to see them. Kimberly surprised him further by running up and hugging him. She thanked him for the extra gift he placed in their truck. Then she introduced Michael and Benjamin. She explained that the Clarks had been foster parents and not being allowed to have guns in their home. But now they're no longer foster parents and they have adopted Michael. Well, they have some real need for firearms, which they can now have. She took a quick breath. I would like to buy Michael a special rifle in 223 caliber like my dad's. Michael, especially to you? Martin Cooper asked with a smile. Kimberly beamed. He's my fiance. Really? When's the happy occasion? 22 months, Michael and Kimberly said together. That's nice. He said, Martin, M-A-R-T. Martin chuckled. So what sort of special rifle are you looking for? Kimberly looked around to make sure no one else could hear. Then she said, my dad had a very good suppressor made for his Colt Car 15. It's very quiet. I want to get Michael something just as quiet and lightweight with a good sniping scope. They got a cabin up in the woods, and I don't want anyone to hear any shots that would give away their location. The owner nodded and called out, Douglas, can you come here for a minute? A clean-cut man in his late 20s. Hang on a minute. I got to clarify something here. I think I have the wrong age on him. And opening up the spreadsheet. And it's trying to open up here. Boom. Wrong one. Wrong spreadsheet. That one. I want. Nope. All right. So. All right. This is the one. This is what I use to track everybody in the novels. There's one for each series. This is for the Scout and the Ninja series. Okay, so I need Martin Cooper Douglas. Douglas is 34. Okay, that's what I wanted to check. I thought because after I started writing, I started setting people's ages up for as I got more information written down to what they were. So in his early 30s, early Thirties, early 30s. Came out of the door at the back of the shop. He walked up. Yes, Dad. He walked towards him. There's someone I'd like you to meet. Douglas looked at the group, GROU group, with his dad and stopped short and came to attention, saluting as he did so. Mrs. Jackson, it is an honor and privilege to meet you. Your husband saved my life several times. How do you know me? Monica asked, a little confused. I'm Douglas Cooper. I served as the Major's executive officer. He kept your picture on his desk at all times. With that revelation, Monica began. Hang on, I got to fix this part of the sentence here. We got another one. Ryan the Gamer's in the house. Woohoo! All right, so with that revelation, Monica choked, C-H-O, choked as. There we go. No. Sucked a B-R-E breath in as the tears began to flow. Period. Delete. She choked up so much she could not speak, so she just stepped up to Douglas and hugged him. Kimberly cleared her throat and said, my mom would like to thank you for that bit of information about the picture. He spoke of you often, said that you were his rock and his anchor. He said you were the reason he could carry on in the difficulties over there. Thank you, Monica, mouthed, but nothing but a squeak came out. Douglas turned to Kimberly. You must be Kimberly. Your father's very proud of you. He said you'd make one heck of a Marine one day. Kimberly nodded and said, Semper Fi. Hoorah. Douglas replied. Period. There we go. Kimberly's fiance needs one of your special rifles, one of the super quiet ones. Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N, Martin said to Douglas, it'd be an honor to outfit both of you. I already have my dad's Colt Car 15 with a very quiet suppressor. I need to get Michael set up. Douglas smiled. Follow me, and he turned back towards the door he'd come out of. They followed him into the back room of the gun shop when he led him to a side room. The room was a little machine shop with a mill, lathe, grinder, and a couple of other pieces of equipment. So what exactly are you planning to use the rifle for? Kimberly spoke softly. We have a cabin way back up in the mountains, and we don't want anyone to. No. They have a cabin way back up in the mountains, and we don't want anyone to hear them if they have to use it for shooting meat then, and for eliminating varmints, four-legged and two-legged if necessary, Michael answered. At a distance, so it needs a very good scope. And lightweight, Kimberly said, and lightweight with replacement parts. You are the Major's daughter, Douglas smiled with a chuckle. He walked over to a locked metal cabinet and unlocked it. I was able to bring back a special weapon when I returned home. It was your father's. He didn't get a chance to use it as he wasn't supposed to go on recon missions. Douglas pulled out a matte black Colt rifle with a large tube on the barrel from. Pulled out a large black Colt rifle with a large tube on the barrel from the cabinet and set it on the table. This is a customized Colt Car 15 with select fire options. Semi-auto, three-shot burst, and full auto. It is not legal in most states unless you have a federal Class 3 license. But it was your father's, so it's yours. The suppressor is probably just like the one you have at home. I have an upgraded suppressor. I have an upgraded suppressor for it, made from titanium. That is even quieter, lighter, and has a longer lifespan. Do you have two of those suppressors? She asked as she dumped out a bag of gold ingots stamped 1,000 on them. For one of those, I have 4 of them for you. What about pistols, my class? Something lightweight, but still with stopping power. Do you want it to be suppressed as well? Yes, please, very much. Very much so. If you don't mind my asking, what exactly are you planning to do that you need such tools? Michael leaned forward and told Douglas about Monica's plan to go to her cousin's place, that he and Kimberly felt that despite their skills, he would have to go rescue them. Douglas nodded and looked at Kimberly for a moment, then asked, what skills do you have? Kimberly, having heard what Michael told Douglas, knew what Douglas was going to ask. She pulled out her smartphone and brought up the video from the venture crew meeting and handed it to Douglas. As he watched the video, he nodded at the skills he saw. When Kimberly took off her Zukin and Fukuman, Douglas almost dropped the phone. That ninja is you? He asked in surprise. Kimberly blushed. Yes. Then I have several things for you. He went back to another cabinet and pulled out 2 combat vests. These are dragon scales. They're lightweight, durable, and flexible. These should fit both of you. He laid them on the table next to the rifle. He went back to the first cabinet, pulled out 4 suppressors, and set them on the table. Then he pulled out 4 smaller suppressors and set them on the table. Then he went to the main back room, and came back with 4 boxes. These are Glock subcompact G29 SF. The SF stands for small frame. The barrel length is 3.78 inches. He took one apart and removed the barrel, then opened a box. Then opened a box on the shelves and took out 4 barrels. These are Lone Wolf barrels. They're 5.2 inches long with threaded barrel ends. Nah, this doesn't sound right. With threaded ends, he said, as he assembled the Glock with the new barrel in. Then he took one of the suppressors and screwed it onto the new barrel. The Glock 10 Glock 10 millimeter can shoot both 10 millimeter and the Smith & Wesson 40 caliber rounds. The Smith & Wesson rounds are the same diameter, but just a short with a little has a little less recoil. It's like the 38 and the 357 Magnum, same caliber, just different cartridge length, just different length cartridge. You can't shoot the 10 millimeter from the Smith & Wesson 40 because the cartridge is too big. Douglas looked at Michael. These are the best weapons for the two of you and will give you close quarter superiority. Thank you very much. Go ahead and swap out the barrels for the other three. Okay, Michael and Kimberly said as they began to do so. Douglas smiled at how well they were paying attention, how fast they were breaking down the pistols. He went back to the other room and came back with a hard-sided rifle case and several cleaning kits in 10 millimeter and 223 caliber. Then he went back and brought in a cart with 4 large cardboard boxes of 10 millimeter ammunition and 40 Smith & Wesson 40 caliber at 1,000 rounds per box. He then packed the rifle in the hard-sided case with the 4 extra suppressors. He walked over to a wall where a number of shoulder holsters were and sorted through them and pulled down 2 of them that were double-sided holsters and 2 of them that were single. He had Kimberly and Michael each put on a vest and adjusted in the fit. Then he had them put on the shoulder holsters. He adjusted in the fit, showing each on the other, show them each how on the other. Then he pulled the Glock with the suppressors on him. Then he put the Glocks with suppressors on him in the holsters and had him practice drawing the pistol several times. He told him to practice every day at home. Then he packed the Glocks and their suppressors into a smaller hard-sided case. Hang on here. Hang on, I need to do something here. COU couple of smaller SMA, smaller CA cases. That's it. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. All righty. Into the smaller hard-sided cases. There we go. Douglas, I packed everything up on the cart and went back to the front. Douglas wrote up the cost of the pistols and ammunition. He started to give Kimberly half the gold back when she stopped him. Can you get us 2 more rifles like my father's? And more ammunition until it's all used up? Douglas looked at his father, who nodded yes to him. Perfect. That'll give you more to practice with. Can we get 4 more of the Glocks as well? Benjamin interjected. Sure. And 2 more sets of shoulder holsters and 2 sets of single shoulder holsters and 4 hip holsters, right side. Benjamin looked puzzled at Michael. for your uh hang on, I got this backward. Sure. Let me switch these names around here. For your mother, Michael looked puzzled at Benjamin. For your mother and me, we should all be using the same pistols. As the others were loading up their purchases, Michael talked to Douglas off to the side and told him he wanted to get some Marine Corps combat utility uniforms, or MCCUUs, for in his and Kimberly's sizes. He said he thought it would give her another connection to her dad. Michael smiled and said, "Follow him." In the back stockroom, Douglas went over to several boxes and asked Michael what their sizes were. He pulled out 3 sets for both of them and asked what size boots they wore. He had 2 pairs each. He had 2 pairs each for them. Douglas explained that Douglas explained he had these as he wanted to expand into selling military surplus also. Once everything was paid for and loaded in the F-450, they headed back to the Jacksons' home. They unloaded everything into the travel trailer, then had lunch. After lunch, Michael and Kimberly went to Home Depot for more storage containers to finish packing the house. Benjamin went with Monica to get an F-350 extended cab. As Michael and Kimberly were leaving Home Depot, Michael suggested they go to Sam's Club and get some paper plates, cups, plastic utensils so they could pack up most of the items in the kitchen too. The rest of the items in the kitchen too. While they were in Sam's, Kimberly saw that twin air mattresses, the type for guests or camping, were on sale. So she got 2, one for her and one for her mom. Now we can pack the beds too, she said with satisfaction. Once again, they started towards Kimberly's home, and Michael spotted a military surplus store that the parking lot was rather empty. And that the parking lot was rather empty. And pulled in. At the Ford dealership, Monica looked at several models of the F-350s, and after seeing the price difference between an extended cab and crew cab, and with a few comments from Benjamin, she decided to get a crew cab 4-wheel drive with a gasoline engine. The salesman was trying to talk financing and down payments when she kept asking for the bottom line price first. Finally, Benjamin spoke up. "Look, buddy, financing is all secretary. We want to know how low you can go, or we're heading to another dealership. Now, what's that number?" The salesman looked at him shocked. He had never had anyone who wasn't interested in what the financing was going to do to the price. He mumbled a price, and Benjamin stood up to go. Just wait. Let me talk to the floor manager. He took off like a rocket and was back. Back a minute later and handed him a price quote. "Does this include tax? I want the final bottom number." 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I need to fix that up. 1, 2, 3. There we go. He took off again and came back with a finance person. So what's the problem? Problem is we can't get a bottom line out of their price. Well, there are a lot of that depends on a lot of things. No, it doesn't. What is the lowest price you can give me? What's the tax, the total? Give us that price. That's it. But that doesn't include documentation fee. We're doing that ourselves. Or dealer preparation fee. We'll take it as is. No charges. No need to charge us $300 to clean it up. How do you want to how do you want to finance it? Cash. Both the salesman and the finance officer's eyes bugged out. Cash. Well, check for the full amount. Write him up, came a voice behind him. Please tell your friends that I had my people quote use the quoted price. The gun owner of the dealership said with a smile, please see me directly when you want to get another vehicle. I like the way you deal. 30 minutes later, they're pulling out. The truck had been cleaned and prepped, and a note on the owner's business card said, the prep is on me. The next place they went to was Camping World in Mesa, where Monica got a small 2-bedroom trailer with a really nice large bath. She also got 30 feet of sewer hose to reach the pit that Jake had dug for him with his backhoe. The salesman here was much more upfront with him and gave him a quote with everything on it, including options, with everything on it, and the options they could add on if they, and options that they could add on if they wanted to. Monica quickly wrote a check and they were on their way. They headed back to the house to pack up what few things that were left that she wanted to take to Jake's. Once that was done, Monica and Kimberly headed off to Jake's to set up the trailer in the barn. They would spend the night there and then come back in the morning. Michael and Benjamin would spend the night at the Jackson's house in their travel trailer and then head up to the cabin with the Jackson's trailer in the morning. Make sure I'm just reading the sentence to make sure it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense now. I just wanted to make sure what it was there. All right, so they finished packing up the last of the Jackson's belongings and staged the containers in the garage in one bay and parked the dump trailer in the other bay. Actually, any stall, people won't understand what bay is, in one stall, STA in one stall, and parked the dump trailer in the other. Hang on. The F-450 was parked in front of the bay that the dump trailer was in. And the F-150 would be left L and FR in front of the ERAV, the travel trailer. In front of the travel trailer. And get rid of that there. Boom, there we go. They'd spend the rest of the day Hang on. Uh, Hang on. I need to change that whole thing around. Give me a second to straighten out my mess. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me drop this down a bit and move things around here. Okay. Let's move this thing here up there. PAR was parked in front of the travel trailer. Okay. Oh. Uh, all righty. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to wrap this up here. Make sure I'm going to wrap this up right. You read? I just got to split it. Okay. So I'm just scanning forward real quick to make sure I don't mess things up. Okay. I done. All right. There we go. All right. So this is going to go like this. When they got back, the F4. Yeah, there we go. Okay. There we go. All right. Hang on. I hear the boys planning to sneak out of the house. Let me go stop them. So let me put that up and Oh boy. Hey Dave, welcome in. Well, yeah. So I got two grandkids out there, and they both decided since they couldn't go home because their mom's at a doctor's appointment, it's like, oh, we're hungry. And it's like, yeah, it's almost noon. I mean, it's 11. It's 11 o'clock here, so yeah, they need to eat. So I had to get them some something to eat. All righty. So where are we at here? Okay. Next part. All right, Janet worked on the fence for the livestock until the truck drivers got there with the next two. I'm short to get C. They are cargo containers. The containers were both dark brown. She had them drop one next to the rabbit pen and the other one next to the hay pole barn. As they started to leave, she gave them each a $50 bill and said that was for the effort in getting dark brown containers. They asked her what color she wanted for the next two. She thought for a moment. She said she liked the dark brown because it blended in with the area better. Then Janet's, hang on. But D, A, dark green was good too. There we go. Yeah. Then Janet strung chicken wire between the green container next to the chicken run and the new brown one to make the rabbit pen. The pen was 24 feet wide and the entire length of the 40-foot containers. They would have to build some awnings on the sides of the containers to give the rabbit some dirt area that was protected from the snow. She read that rabbits like to dig burrows, so she was hoping they would dig under the containers and not the fencing. The containers would provide some shelter from the winter cold if they were able to get insulated panels from the cold. If they were able to get insulated panels glued to the walls and the roof of the containers, then a small heater would keep the container warm enough to heat. Then a small heater would keep the container warm enough so that the heat would radiate through the floor and provide a little extra warmth for the rabbits. Then she opened up one side of the small corral for the milk cow and swung it over to the container next to the pole barn. She bolted it to the container and doing so enlarged the corral and also made it more stable. They would cut a door into the door to the corral in the side of the container so the milk cow could come into the container. Thus, they could use part of the container as a milk barn. Janet decided to move the location for the next two containers farther away from the cabin than she and Benjamin had first agreed upon. Last night, she read up on raising pigs. She found out the less they smell. Also, that the pig pen should be on a slight slope of about 5%. That way, the runoff would not pool and putrefy, but spread out and dry up. So she decided to move it about 200 feet to the northwest near the edge of the tree line where the meadow began to slope towards the trees. She then staked out where she wanted the last two containers to go and headed back to the house for a late lunch. She was just about there when she heard the truck drivers coming down the road. She hustled back to the cabin before they got there so she could direct them to the new location. Janet got to the cabin just as the truck pulled into the front of the meadow. She waved him around to the south side of the garage and headed over to meet him. When they drove up, Janet saw one of them holding out his cell phone. "Mrs. Clark, my boss would like to talk to you," he said, and stopped his truck. Janet stepped up on the running board and took the phone. "Hello, this is Mrs. Clark. How much?" "That sounds wonderful. We'll take 4 more." "All right, thank you." She handed the phone back to him. She handed the phone back to the driver. Back to the driver. Come on. "We're getting 4 more. Do you have enough brown ones?" "We should. Where do you want these?" Janice noticed that one of the doors had that one trailer had the doors towards the cab, and the other one had them towards the back. Drop the one with the doors facing back first, where the new stakes are, then butt the other one against its end. "Sure thing. Can I ride on the running board? I'm tired of walking down there." "Not a problem." The driver chuckled. 15 minutes later, they had dropped both containers where Janet wanted them and snugged them up tight together. Janet gave them another $50 each, and they were headed back to get 2 more containers. "This may be the best thing that ever happened to us," Janet said as she surveyed the work that she had done. "We're going to need more insulation panels and more solar panels and batteries and LED lights and wiring and crap. I need to go write this down." Benjamin listened to Janet and agreed to what she had done in getting 4 more containers, an additional $300 off. He also agreed that they needed power for some of those containers for lights and heat for some of them. "Sweetheart, why don't you go ahead and order all the solar panels you can from Amazon and have them delivered to the Jackson's home, if they will deliver by Saturday." "I'll order them now," she said as she logged on to Amazon. She was glad that Benjamin had gotten the satellite internet dish installed at the cabin. It was going to be valuable over the next couple weeks. "Don't forget, we have 30 solar panels that are still in their shipping boxes in the garage," Michael hollered from the kitchen. "We need to mount those as well for the house and travel trailer. We'll pick up some units from Home Depot and make mounting mounting frames next week." Okay, guys, I was able to get 40 of the 100 watt panels ordered, and they should be delivered by 8 p.m. Wednesday. "That's great," Benjamin said. "We have to get more of the lithium iron phosphate batteries," Michael said as he walked into the room carrying a couple plates with sandwiches on them. "Well, I just ordered 4 sets of the 500 amp hour power bundles and 2 600 power bundles by Battleborn Batteries. But that maxed out both our credit cards," Janet answered. "I can order from Amazon, but Janet said, "I can order from Amazon, but the bank doesn't want to let me pay the credit cards off from up here. I'll hurry over to Chase Bank before they close. pay off the balances on the card and put 20,000 credit on each of them. Benjamin said, I'll also get more gold and silver coins, ingots, and bars. We need to get most of what we want from selling the house converted so we don't lose it if the banks fail or just close because no one's coming to work. I agree, Janet said over the speakerphone. Hey, Dad, while you're doing that, I'll use my card to get the wiring and connectors. I'll get the wiring connectors to wire the solar panels and battery units together, Michael said as he took another bite of his sandwich. I forgot about your card. I'll put 20,000 on it too. Janet interjected saying, let me know as soon as my card is good to use. I want to order some canning supplies and get a food freeze dryer. On the way back from the gold exchange, you might want to swing by some other gun stores and get all the 223 and Smith & Wesson 40 caliber ammunition you can at each store, Michael suggested. Good, sounds like a good idea, Benjamin said. As soon as I get your card paid off and order more lithium batteries. Oh, as soon as I get your card paid off, so I can go ahead and order several more of the lithium power bundles. Then check on the price for small wood burning stoves. One that we could use to put in cargo containers to keep the livestock warm in the wintertime. Also, if the best prices online, see if they can be delivered by Saturday. Otherwise, we'll have to get the best price ones locally. Got it, Michael said as he opened up his laptop. Mom, can you send me the link to those batteries? All right. Hey, by the way, Michael, when you get when you guys get the stuff to mount the solar panels, can you make sure you get hinges and stuff to make them able to swing down vertically so the snow won't build up on them, and so we can adjust them to get the best angle for collecting sunlight. Great idea, Mom. Boom, there we go. All right. 2 chapters done. Yeah. And 2 chapters in 2 hours. I'm going to let it wrap up here. And let me take a look at it. Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so this one starts at 184. That is, oh, that's not that. Those are quick little sub chapters in there. So yeah, I got it set up right. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here, folks. Tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern is Tactical Tuesday. The topic is about exercise. Hang on, let me get this up here so I can see what it says here. Get it that said right here. All right, it is physical training. Do what you can. And we're going to be talking about not overdoing it and all the different ways you can stay fit easily and without spending a bunch on gym membership fees. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so tomorrow's is this also starts at 11 o'clock Eastern, we'll go till I finish those. And all right, and it looks like tomorrow night I'm going to be being interviewed by another channel, and I'll have it. I'll make sure I can stream it to Grayman Prepping as well as her channel as well, and that should be at tomorrow night, and I'll have more stuff on it, and I'll have the as soon as I get it set up, I'll have it I'll get it set up on my under my live stream tab on the YouTube channel, so you guys can go to that. All right, back to this. Thursday nights to midnight ride. It's going to start later, at least a half hour later, because tonight Thursday night is the city council meeting, and it's going to be a rather heated one, and it may run long. But I'm working with the city clerk on a way to nip a lot of the arguing in the bud and make people feel silly for arguing about the rate increases. Friday is on Camp Found the Compound is Friday the 13th. Do something unexpected. And so we'll talk about then. All right, everyone. Take care, and I will see you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for Tactical Tuesday. Take care.